So we got another exciting game. Welcome back everyone. We have here Aili Yug playing as Dutch, and he is up against none other than Dennis himself playing as Hausa. The man, the Hausa main squeezer, and he is just probably the best Hausa player on the ladder right now, just duking it out, trying lots of different things with Hausa and just showing the potential of this civilization. So it's always interesting to see a Dennis game. This is actually extra special because I got sent this game to me by MFD. So MFD is a great caster. You've probably seen him cast on Isak. He's just such a nice dude, and he actually sent me this recording. So thank you so much, MFD, if you're watching this, and I'm gonna enjoy this one. So quite an interesting matchup here, going up against Dutch. I don't know, I think Dutch is one of those civs that a lot of people do struggle with, I think. You definitely don't want to give them too much time, because they will just boom like crazy in their base. They don't really need much map control, and with units that basically only cost gold, it's just very versatile. However, I think you have a good chance with Hausa against Dutch, because Dutch is not one of those civs that is known for a fast fortress, which means Hausa actually do have time to get up their own army composition and get up to fortress age themselves, and even maybe get some cannons out. So I think you can play this in a variety of ways as Hausa. You could probably go a bit greedy, but you can also, of course, start with the raiders. It's always a good shout, just building a big raider mass here in H2 and just trying to raid some buildings, but we'll see what it does. A lot of Dutch players will actually like to go H2 and then just start stable Hussar, and if they do that, that's actually really good. If you start raider, they will actually crush you, because it's really good for Dutch in that case, because raiders of course die to normal Hussars. But if you do start javelins, in that case, of course, it's really beneficial for you. And if you go greedy, it's also really beneficial. But we see Dennis putting down the classic 2 granaries. This is how you know it's Dennis playing. For some reason, he loves to just spam out those granaries. I don't know. I'm not a fan of wasting villager seconds building 2 granaries here in H2, but yeah, or in H1, I should say. But I guess it's another building that can tank some fire, at least when he does get pushed. So on this map, there's actually 2 TPs as well, which is kind of good for Hausa. Dutch is one of those civs that can really do without TPs, while Hausa definitely needs them, not only for the influence, but also the experience, considering Hausa shipments are just worth 100 more coin with that extra free cattle, which means basically XP is just really good as Hausa because of it. He's gonna be picking off a XP treasure here, actually, speaking of XP, and looks like he's aging up now. I think he's gonna go for the Berbers. I know Dennis liked the Berbers, but we'll see what he does. Actually, Hausa. So that's actually really interesting, quite unexpected. Hausa is very versatile. It's good for getting infrastructure down. You have the Hausa Kingdom builder, big button in the TC, which is really good, or not big button, but yeah, the 400 influence town center builder, which is really good if you just want to boom or something. So it's very versatile in that sense, and you get that barracks, you get that wood, so it can definitely help you get some Fulani production as well if you want to start with that. However, I don't really think Fulani is going to be much of help here, because, well, they don't really have any siege, so he's going to probably want something more siege. So he's actually looking to take this TP, and I think he might actually want to send Hausa Kingdom as well. That's probably why he's leaving his safer TP, because you want to get this whole TP line. And this is really good against the Dutch, actually. Taking the TP line is always good, because Dutch kind of just want to stay in their base and build their banks, right? So if you can actually take the TP line, then you're like putting the pressure on them to push you, which is always good, because it's of course immensely worth it to build the TP line. But we see the H coming in. He has sent the Hausa Kingdom. Let's look at the deck here. Don't really see anything special here. He doesn't actually have the upgrades for the Fulani, and also not the team ranged upgrades. So not a whole lot of upgrade cards when it comes to his ranged units. But usually with Hausa you can get away with playing quite aggressively and just stacking more unit shipments, which we do see. We do see also center horsemen, which is interesting. I used to like that card a lot, but I don't know, it just feels quite expensive. Nowadays I definitely prefer just sending the cannoneers. We do see the university coming down there and training some raiders, getting that trade builder to build that TP. I think ideally he would try to get the stagecoach now any second, but he needs the food. He's used the food to train these raiders. And Dutch player is gonna be able to scout that with his envoy here, which is quite nice. So he knows that the cavalry is coming, and the question is, do we see a stable? No, we do actually see a barrack start. So I think this is really good for Hausa, because if your opponent starts barracks, they're gonna be forced to make pikemen, and pikemen are just so slow. They're just terrible at dealing with cavalry, to be honest. And of course, skirmisher is not really gonna be a problem. And Dutch, of course, can't make musketeers, which is quite nice. So we do see cavalry coming in here, causes some idle time. Actually, he might be able to get a villager, yeah. So quite nice there, picking up a villager. Probably will pick off this Henry Minute as well, but no, he missed it. But quite nice, losing one cav unit for a villager. Really nice. And here we see, I think Palace of Amina came out, and he's upgrading to the stagecoach, or traveling merchant, as it's called on this map. So also looks like he is building some trade builders. Okay, that was interesting. So I think what happened is, I think he sent Palace of Mina, yeah, and then he used the res 200 influence for each of these trade builders, and he built 2 of them to get the full stagecoach. That is actually quite nice play. I quite like that. So we can just keep the wood actually, and just utilize the influence, because the influence just isn't terribly valuable here in H2, so I think that's quite nice. And sending 700 coin. But now we're getting to that scary state where Dutch has 5 banks up, and this is just so much economy right here. We do see some Fulanis, but just lost his raiders, so Dennis doesn't really have much to do in this case. And we do see the wood coming in here as well for Dutch. So yeah, I think Dutch at this point is just quite happy in his base. He's got 21 villagers and 5 banks. Meanwhile, we got 21 villagers, no banks. So yeah, Aliyug is definitely a lot ahead in terms of economy at this point. Although I guess the stagecoach does account for a bit. So maybe it's not as far ahead as you might think, but yeah, it's definitely a bit ahead. So Dennis really need to utilize his tempo and be able to really keep those trading posts, and preferably upgrade, I think, this side as well to stagecoach. He does have another shipment in. He's gonna go for the fast H-up. He's gathering the last food there. Everyone on food, just H-up. I think he's gonna save this shipment, especially considering the fact that he has a fast H-up. And at this point, I would be quite scared of Dutch getting up. And we see Dutch sending the hussars now, which is quite interesting actually. I would think that he would probably be aging at this point. He's also going to fast H-up, so don't really think it was worth it to send 3 hussars when you're this close to aging. That could have been 5 hussars or 9 Reuters pretty soon. But yeah, Dennis moving in with some cavalry here. Not ideal here, kind of missing the hussars, but he does at least scout the hussars, so he knows that there are hussars in play at least. And we do see a stable coming up as well. Meanwhile, Dennis is just training some Fulanis, still only on 1 racks, but yeah, as I say that, he's putting up his second war camp. So he's gonna be able to start double production pretty soon. He doesn't have a lot of influence though, so he's not gonna be able to get cannons out. He's not gonna be able to go for Center Horsemen either. Aging up with Berbers, which is actually quite nice because that gives him that anti-cav that he needs for his Fulani. And he's actually sending 1000 influence and making imported cannons, so, and also upgrading the Fulani. So looks like he wants to go for cannon production, and yeah, he's putting his stagecoach here on influence. And if you haven't seen my video on how to gather influence, You should definitely check it out. In that video I really show how powerful the stagecoach is when it comes to influence. It's just by far the best way of getting influence, so he's gonna get a lot of influence from this, and also that 1000 influence coming in, so he's gonna be able to get at least 2 cannons, probably more likely 3, if he wants to, but we'll see if he does that or if he goes some mercs or what he wants to do. But we do see he's trying to defend his trading post, and I think at this point I would probably still think that Dennis has the upper hand when it comes to his army strength right now, although it is quite close, and we do see a lot of reinforcements here from Aliyug, so maybe not with those reinforcements, but we do see the skirmishers moving in without Reuter support, and yeah, that was a bit lucky for him that Dennis didn't commit to that. And now we see skirms versus Fulanis. Let's compare the stats. We got 150 HP on the Fulanis, 144 on the skirms, 11 attack with 1.5 rate of fire versus 20. So very similar stats, to be honest. A longer range on the skirmishers, but yeah, and a bit more attack on the Fulanis. So it's just a matter of, do you want attack pure damage output or do you want that range? However, of course, the skirmisher have that really nice instant fire animation. But here we do see 3 falconets, and I think he will get a shot off. Oh, yes, he's gonna get a shot off. So that is really nice. But leaving his cannon quite exposed, losing at least 1 cannon pretty quickly. Oh yeah, actually, is there 2 alive? No, only 1 single cannon alive. So yeah, losing a bit of cannons there, but also Aliyug is just really committing to kill that last cannon, which I think is a big mistake. I think as that you really have that coin to build culverins, so if you see cannons you can always just fall back and build culverins, because you're always gonna be able to get 400 coin. But he made a mistake there, I think, and he just overcommitted, and there's a lot of archers here from Dennis, and archers are generally a really good choice versus Dutch, because most Dutch players do play skirm goon composition, which both get, well, the goons get countered by the archers, and the skirms get kind of soft countered just because the archers are just more cost efficient. And now we do see the range upgrade coming in as well, and once that's in, he's gonna have very similar range, I think, to the skirms. So yeah, it's looking quite promising here. You see range coming up to 20, so same range, but just more damage output and more HP, although a bit less range resist. So very interesting indeed. And we do see some anti-cav coming in here, and yeah, Dutch player is just losing a lot of units. He's taking a fight here I don't think he wants to take, although I say that, and he actually has more skirms right now, so maybe it was an okay fight after all. There's a lot of anti-cav from Dennis, but not really any cav from the Dutch player. And we see the Lefidis now coming in, training some raiders as well, and I think this is exactly what he wants, because his opponent has gone very much into the skirms, which means that he will be very weak to heavy cavalry. And we do see a cannon coming out as well for Dutch, and the cavalry is coming in here. Yeah, the pathing is not great. There's a lot of buildings here just blocking the path, unfortunately, but he manages to kill the cannon with those javelin riders. The javelin riders do have a multiplier against cannons, I think, so yeah, that is quite nice, that 2.5. And overall I would say a pretty even trade, maybe a bit favorable for Dennis here. And we do see the Lefidi Knights coming in, and there's just no anti-cav left for Dutch, and preferably I think Dutch would just send Minutemen at this point. If there's one time you press Minutemen, it's right now. I think Minutemen and then just body block with your villagers, but yeah, it doesn't look like you have resource for it, and that's the game. So that's how you can utilize the stagecoach, taking just all the TPs and then just running your opponent over and just keeping your opponent in their base and utilizing those falconets very nicely there. And it's just really easy to overcommit to the falconets, I think, and I think that was the mistake that the Dutch player here made in the first fight. So let's look at the post game. let's look at the resource graph actually. So resources are actually surprisingly close, and I think Hausa kind of lives on those cattle, on selling those cattle. So like the longer this goes on, the better it is for Dutch, because Dutch just has a much more scalable economy. But in this part of the game, like the first 15 minutes, Dennis really shows how you can actually keep up even though you're really down actually. And similarly on the villager graph there, and then just take a look at the military unit population. And we do, Dennis has a bit of mass here in the beginning actually, uncontested, and he took a really great fight here. So I think this was the fight with cannons, and it kind of gave him the upper hand for that the rest of the game. So anyways, very nice game, and I hope you guys enjoyed that game, and I'll see you guys in the next video.